Okay, well, I worked a lot on the Hall sensor spinner circuit and came up with a better way to go with it. I ran the other one for about 5 days without using the charging part of it because the charging was so weak on that circuit, and I redid the circuit so that it's a better charger and it just works better. It's the same components, I just wired it a little bit differently. The way this is wired is a little different, and then I've got a 10K pot instead of a 1K. And I eliminated the LED that was here and went to a switching diode. It's a 1N914 switching diode, and then a capacitor here to absorb the back spike before it hits that battery. And this is what seemed to work the best. And then I also worked a lot with Maggie, and there's Maggie running right there. And this is a generator now, and I don't know if you saw my flux field generator video, but Maggie had a little ball in her mouth, and now she's running a Neo Magnet in a bearing situation. Very poor bearings, but it's working. And what she is an induction coil, and then this Neo Magnet slides past those coils and induces a current, makes her eyes go. And she's being run remotely by the Saturn Magnet. And Jack was the one that turned me onto this. He's getting results using the Saturn Magnet, and it does work better on this Hall sensor spinner. There's the Hall sensor right there, and this capacitor right here, right now it's feeding the energy into a somewhat depleted 9-volt alkaline. There's the voltage on the alkaline sitting right there, and I'm going to disconnect the battery and show you the climb, which is what I was looking for in the other circuit and couldn't find, so I had to rewire it. So here's the back spike going into that cap, and this is what I really wanted. I wanted good charging on this circuit, so I had to rewire it. I'll flip this over to the other scale. This will go on up to about 43 volts, which is plenty good for charging a 9-volt battery. Now you notice I'm using 9 volts now instead of 2 or 3 volts. The system ran better this way. So anyway, like I say, this is the way I've got it running right now, and I'm drawing a lot more juice. I'm drawing about 20 milliamps, but I wanted this to happen here. I thought this was really cool, was this remote generation of power through a flux field, and I just thought that was pretty darn neat. And Maggie, like I say, is now a generator. You see there's nothing under Maggie, and she's being run by that Saturn Magnet spinning around its flux field. And that coil now is just the full coil of 30 gauge. It's 785 feet, and it's just an air core. There's no core in it. And I'm running the Saturn Magnet on that concave makeup mirror. And when you do this circuit, if anybody else does it, this little transistor here, which is a 2N3906 that I got at Radio Shack, you can actually connect that 2 different ways and make this run. So if anybody tries this and isn't getting success with it, reverse the emitter and collector connections and try that, because I think it's labeled wrong on the package. Okay, there's the cap voltage now at 41 and still climbing. And let me stop this. I'll show you a couple other things here too. Turn this on. And Maggie, I wanted to show you that Maggie is now, like I say, she's a generator that when you flip this magnet around, she produces light. So you could hook this up to anything that spun her magnet, and she would be a generator. It's very simple. It's just a couple of paper clips that I bent up with one of those cylinder Neo Magnets. I put a dowel rod in the middle, a couple of brass tubes on the end for a bearing point, and that made a little generator out of her. And the way I get this going here is I start the Saturn Magnet up. It starts on its own sometimes, and I just fire Maggie up until she gets going. Now she's running. There's the Saturn Magnet driving her. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with people. And like I say, this is a better circuit than the one I posted earlier. And if you're having any trouble at all with this, nix the LED and put in a 1N914 switching diode and try reversing these connections here on your transistor, and she ought to run just fine. Thanks a lot.